The Visions of Mana developers have seemingly been laid off by NetEase immediately after the game's release, and by immediately, literally the next day. It released on Friday, and the entire studio was shut down on Saturday.
What? What?
So, Ouka Studios, which is they're under the umbrella of NetEase, are the ones who developed Visions of Mana, which is like the first Mana series game to come out in a long fucking time, like more than 10 years, I think 15 years. And I've started playing the game, and first of all, it's gorgeous. It is a gorgeous, like, animated style game. Like, you can see the art style here. But the game is absolutely beautiful to look at, and it runs like butter. Oh, it runs beautifully. It's very well optimized. The combat is really fun. It's simple but deep. It's a solid JRPG game in the model world. And it outsold, at least in physical sales in Japan, it outsold Star Wars Outlaws 3-1.
Pretty good.
And they closed the studio the day after it released.
Why?
Video game that has been a long time in the making, even though it had only began its production style in 2020. It was clear to all fans of the series that the game would be a return to form, invoking a sense of nostalgia for the Seiken Densetsu games of the 90s. So that's the Secret of Mana games.
Okay.
Now that that's finally here, it appears that developer Ouka Studios has been successful in its efforts, with the game opening on a highly positive note. Yeah, it sold well for what it was, and gets almost all positive reviews, like the one I just gave. Some of the excitement has now been significantly soured, all thanks to NetEase laying off nearly all members of the studio.
Why?
Jesus, a lot of images. And what can only be described as an incredibly bizarre...
Go up. I actually want to see this.
Okay, yeah, let me scroll through these pictures so you can kind of get an idea of the art
What kind of game is this?
It's a JRPG.
You
can see, it's like mounts and stuff. Rabbits. Like, it's a very classic kind of JRPG style, but I'm telling you right now,
it looks nice.
It's a beautiful game. It really is.
It's the same picture 3 fucking times, Jesus.
Yeah, I know. I just realized that. And what could only be described as an incredibly bizarre move, after hiring a ton of industry veterans from big players like Bandai Namco and Capcom to open a Shibuya outfit, are now backing off of the previous plans and laying off both of the developers. Allegedly, only a few people now remain at Ouka Studios to oversee the rollout of their leftover titles. It is unclear if any games other than Mana were in the making as of yet. Man, if you're one of those people who's left there, why do you remain there?
Yeah.
Like, why even stick around? Like, if you're one of the people that survived this massive, like, 90% plus round of layoffs, you're so demoralized at this point, and you know that your job is gone as the moment your current task list is complete. Why even bother sticking around? You know? Like, clearly NetEase means to dispose you. As for the reason, the move seems to have risen as part of Tencent and NetEase Games rethinking their level of investment and involvement within the Japanese games industry. So these are Chinese companies, Tencent and NetEase.
Yeah.
So these are Chinese companies who basically bought this Japanese indie dev studio. Or I don't know if it's an indie dev. Or they formed this Japanese studio to revitalize the Mana series. And so I guess like these Chinese companies are kind of second guessing their investments into the Japanese games market. As one may expect, reactions to the just fucking Square Enix, if you were smart for once in your goddamn lives, you would just recreate this studio. You would just hire all of these people within the studio and get them going on the next Mana game. That's what you would do, Square Enix, if you were smart. You would just scoop up this whole fucking team. That's what they should do, but they're not going to. Jesus Christ, it's incredibly fucked up. Yeah, you think? It reminds me of that what is it? Riot Games, when they closed their UK studio like 3 days after the Riot CEO like visited the UK studio and took all these photos with the employees with like big smiling faces and stuff. And then
then fucking fired them the next day.
3 days later, he fired them all and closed the UK studio. Yeah, reminds me of that. Interestingly enough, a few netizens have also decided to blame Xbox for the whole ordeal, despite no clear evidence of their involvement impacting the Chinese conglomerate. and the fact being clear from the day one that the game will not arrive on Game Pass. Thanks, Xbox. So these are fucking, like, middle-aged retard, console warrior dickheads. Stay the hell away from our JRPGs. Xbox stink, and Xbox marketing killed the game before. Oh, this is an anti-Xbox. It's the same thing, though. At the end of the day, however, it admittedly a new low for the games industry in that game developers aren't even able to see their games released before their studio gets shuttered and folded by the investors. Man, dude, if I was in the game dev industry, I would be, like, seriously reconsidering my field of work at this point. Like, your job security is zero in this industry.
Unless you work at FromSoft.
That is true. There are a few studies. If you work at Hoyoverse, you're good.
Yep. Work at FromSoft, you're chilling.
You're good.
I still always think of, like, that one interview of, like, Miyazaki where he was asked about, like, what he thinks about all these studios, like, closing down. He's just like, I'm not going to comment on why I think that is the case. But what I will say is that at FromSoft, we're actually looking to hire more people. We're actually promoting some of our people to be game directors, so you can start working on new projects that are being led by people other than myself. Which I think is fucking base. A great decision.
Yeah,
Miyazaki.
I do too. I like Miyazaki's got a fucking... Well, you could tell that Miyazaki is, like, a true gamer. You could tell, you know? Purple says looks like... Purple says looks
like
anime
that
and gay. But kudos to them.
I like that he's... That, he wants other people... Like, he acknowledges, right? Dark Souls 2's, like, amazing amounts of, like, innovation.
Mm-hmm.
And how, like, that pieced a lot of, like, the better mechanics in Elden Ring.
Mm-hmm.
And he's willing to admit that, yeah, like, I want other people other than myself to work on projects because sometimes we'll make cool stuff.
Yeah.
Which is good, right? Because honestly, I'm getting kind of sick and tired of Miyazaki's, like...
Well, he's doing the smart thing and building a successorship.
Exactly. Which is good, because, again, like, I don't know, man, a lot of decisions in Elden Ring, not a fan. Not a big fan.
That's a big problem.
I get sick of some of Miyazaki's bullshit.
That's a big problem in a lot of industries right now. Is that successorship is hard to because less and less people want to take on the jobs, like those high ranking jobs. That it's successorship is becoming a problem in a lot of companies. That's also why you're getting that's also like one of the contributors to like the competency crisis and like the brain drain issues. It's because like successorship programs just aren't as successful as they used to be. But yeah, Purple says looks anime and gay, but kudos to them. A game that runs smoothly and is a rarity these days, let alone one that delivers for its audience. Well, I mean, this has been Japanese devs, even like the more woke ones like Capcom, they've done that. Like, say what you will about Street Fighter 6, the game runs smooth and bug free. Like, look at like the new Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It's the same thing. That game runs extremely well. It's absolutely gorgeous. And it delivers to its audience, like it knows its audience and it delivers what they want, i.e. what I want, because I'm that audience. And like the anime and gay thing, it's like, yeah, but I like JRPGs. I've always been a fan of JRPGs. I am that audience, and that's why I gave it a glowing review, because it's like, it's gorgeous, it runs like butter. It's got an easy but deep combat system that's fun to engage with. Like it's like you said, like the next thing we're gonna talk about is Star Wars Outlaws. It's the polar opposite. Hoyo boss walks in, make me a new sexy character. We need to build another nuclear power plant. Yeah, dude, the Hoyoverse is like, isn't the Hoyoverse building a particle collider or something like that?
Yeah, they're
fuck?
building a nuclear like power plant.
It's like, what the fuck?
They're using the money that they're making from their games to build a nuclear power plant.
Yeah, they're like building their own like city-state infrastructure. It's like, holy fuck.
That was one of the that was one of the things that we talked about on OCP. Some like a month or two back. We were talking about how the future of energy is being funded by waifus.
I mean, I mean, hey, like if Western Western developers would swallow the fucking egos and actually embrace that fact, you know, California could probably use a nuclear power plant. Just saying, with all the brownouts they have.
They would never. They would never. They only believe in renewable resources. Nuclear. They hate nuclear. You know.
It's fucking insane. Like they have no clue what.
It's really dumb. Yeah, it's really dumb. A lot of people really hate nuclear, and I don't understand why.
People who hate nuclear don't know anything about nuclear. Anyway, with a clear cash cow in the form of Marvel rivals. Oh, that's right. That's another like. Why are they bringing that up though? It's a competitor to fucking, like it's a 5v5 hero kind of game, just like Concord. Yeah.
Oh, it's sexy ass fucking bitches. Let's go.
Dude, I've seen. I mean, the
and
thing is like
man.
The 5v5 thing, the arena hero shooter stuff. It's not my kind of game at all. I am not going to play Marvel Rivals, but I've seen footage of it, and whew, they made the ladies hot and the guys, well, just as hot, I assume. And it's $0 up front. It's a free to play. You know, like they're actually like in line with their competition, and they're doing the things that they need to do to actually set them apart. I actually think Marvel Rivals is going to be successful. There's also the Valve game Deadlock that's been leaked. That people are also like saying like, holy shit, like this is like a real like a serious competitor in that space. You know, so we'll see. It's difficult to see the conglomerate's actions as nothing but the most cruel way of maximizing its profits. I mean, yeah, that's corporatization is one of the biggest problems that ever happened to gaming. It's even more saddening that no official statements have been made specifying the exact reasons behind Ouka Studios' closure, making it clear that it might as well have been a casualty without cause. Well, I mean, it's a Chinese company. They don't give a fuck about what we in the West think or what Japan thinks. Like, they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
While some may see it as a great for the Japanese industry not to be sullied by their involvement and the intrusion of certain toxic game development practices prevalent in China, the sad truth is that the industry does rely quite a bit on foreign investments to support development costs. Yep, exactly. And it's like Black Myth. We're going to talk about this a bit later too, but Black Myth Wukong just passed 18 million units sold. You know what I mean? It's like, and I also saw, I can't remember where I saw it, but I saw a thing like some like developer or something like that in one of these Chinese studios basically said like, because China is actually like putting funding, just like Korea is, their government is funding like the video game industry in their country.
Yeah.
But I can't remember where I saw it, but some person like that has like decision-making power within the gaming industry or whatever, the cultural ministry of China, whatever said, it's summarized. They said like, we're going to put out games with big boobs and no black people. Which is hilariously racist, but I expect nothing less from China. And the thing is, it's like maybe I might have to dig into that further, but I know that I saw that somewhere. But it's just like, I mean, I'm sorry, but as racist as that is, that's gonna sell. It's gonna sell. Look at the First Ascendant. You know, the First Ascendant is the survivor, the survival of that game is based purely on the waifu energy. 100% based on waifu energy. You know what I mean? You want to know how many of the waifus in that game are black? 0. There's one. Sharon is arguably like mixed race, but I would classify Sharon more as Latina than black. She's the one she's the only one that comes kind of close. But other than that, there's like no black waifus in that game. You know, so it's like, I'm sorry, but like China, and not just China, but like the East in general, has a thing about black people. This is why they had to shrink Finn's face on the poster of Star Wars. You know, this is why Black Panther 2, they had, or was it Black Panther? Yeah, it was the second one. and the first. No, it was the first one. They had Chadwick Boseman's face completely covered by the Black Panther mask in the poster for China. You know, because they got a thing about black people over there. You know, so it's just. But the thing is, it's like you can call it racist, you can call it whatever you want. It's gonna sell. In the end, money talks louder than anything else. And you're not going to be able to shame China into any kind of moral shit. You're not going to be able to do it, especially anything that can be considered as quote unquote woke. Because China very, very much recognizes woke as a psychological weapon that is strategically used to destroy the West, which is why they basically ban it in China. Like, they promote it in America and in the UK and ban it in their own country. Because they understand that it's a weapon designed to, like, divide and demoralize the society. You know what I mean? So it's like, you're not going to be able to use that shit to shame China into making games without black people. Because that's just the thing that they got over there. And it's like, your moral judgments don't matter. That shit will sell. And guess what? It'll sell in the West as well. Because Western gamers also don't give a shit. You show us big titty waifus, we're gonna buy it. We don't care what race they are. And that's the reality. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the way it is. And it's like, if the thing is, like, Western developers, they can't moralize themselves out of bankruptcy. You know, at some point, Western developers are gonna have to swallow their personal beliefs and opinions and morals and shit like that, and they're gonna have to compete. And to compete, they're gonna have to compete with the stuff that's selling. And if that's Chinese and Korean and Japanese shit that has no black people, I mean, the thing is, though, you know what I mean? like, I'm not sitting here making judgments. I'm just tell the truth.
I want my brown girls in video games, but also, like, who fucking cares?
Exactly. Also, who cares?
Is the story good? Is the gameplay good? I don't need the character to be like a particular race. I don't even need the character to be fucking female. Like, I don't care. If the character is good, then I can relate as a human being.
Yeah, exactly. It's just. China's 99.9% China. Yeah, and they're, like, very, very much very, very nationalistic and proud of their historical cultures and stuff like that. And that's what Wukong is all about. You know, Wukong is literally a celebration of ancient Chinese, cultural things, and it's selling like gangbusters over there. You know, so it's like. And you think like calling them racist for not liking black people is going to make them change? No. They don't give a fuck. I mean, why do you think the Hoyoverse boycott failed? Outside of all the boycotters being, just broke, middle schoolers who, got bored in the lunchroom. It's because Hoyoverse is based in China. And they don't give a fuck about moralization from Westerners. Yeah. Like, they don't care.